Welcome to Community Watch. Today we'll be talking about the big switch, and we'll be joined by guests from the Hometown Headlines, and we'll be right back after this.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome to Community Watch, Greg.
Doc,
How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm all right. Should be a really interesting show today. Of course, we've had John Druckenmiller on the show before. He's always a great guest. But in the last couple of weeks, he has been reporting on development in the county and city regarding a different approach to the Chamber of Commerce and their work. And that's one of the topics we'll be talking about today. And I know you've been out of town for a while, so we'll catch you up quickly. But
Yes.
It's a fairly complex story, I think, and something that maybe the average person might not even be aware is going on, but possibly should be.
So the show today, we'll be able to put some spotlight on some issues that a lot of local people may not even know what's going on.
I think that's true, yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
I like those shows.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be joined by John Druckenmiller. When we come back, do not go away.
Your life is filled with opportunities to show the world you can take charge. It's waking up each day with a mission. It's working each day toward a goal. It's choosing to rise. It's charging forward with a purpose. It's changing the course of your life and taking charge of your future. If you're ready to be a Take Charger, enroll at Georgia Highlands College today.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We are very happy to have with us today John Druckenmiller. Welcome back.
Gentlemen, glad to be here. Thank you very much. 13 years of broadcast excellence here.
Well, the excellence is debatable.
Yeah, very debatable.
Well, happy anniversary. How's that? So,
We'll take the years with that.
How long has Hometown Headlines been going?
we will be here 15 years in January.
Well,
So we're kind of soulmates.
Well, I've said this before, but Hometown Headlines really does a great job. I mean,
thank you very much.
It's a very quick, easy place to get essential information.
Thank you.
And so I definitely appreciate what you're doing. I'm curious. I mean, I've never asked you this. It must take quite a few people to do all of that work. I mean,
I'll tell you, the greatest secret is I have no life. No, it is. I do a majority of it. A young lady named Natalie Sims helps out, especially on the weekends. And then we have a few columnists, the John McClellans of the world, a few other folks. But usually it's a lot of very generous readers who may spot something and say, I just saw this down the road. Do you know what's going on? And even with that tip, we can kind of start running it down through some of the sources and whatever it is. So, but yeah, it's a pretty, what's the word for it? Not a big payroll.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Well, I know that we wanted to talk about the ongoing, I don't even know what to call it, an issue, development change, the big switch.
The big switch.
That's been in hometown headlines, but it's been something fascinating to watch the last couple of weeks. And one reason that I thought about you is that I think what we can possibly do on the show today is to introduce what's going on, or seems to be going on, to folks who haven't seen it or not aware of it, and see if we can understand what the complications or issues are. So let's see if we can kind of explain what has happened to this point.
Okay.
And I know it's related to the work that the Chamber of Commerce does. The idea is to bring together the city and county governments to take on some of that work. Is that the idea? Is there?
It's debatable. You're going to get a different response from everybody. From the 21 years that Al Hodge has been the Chamber president, the Chamber has led the economic development, job recruitment, industrial recruitment, whatever you want to call it, to a very successful level. I mean, look at Lowe's, look at Pirelli. You can look around the community. Now, do you have, it's like a baseball game. Do you have a big game on this night, this year? Maybe not. You don't, maybe all those jobs coming in here. Look to our neighbors in Bartow County. I mean, they cannot, seriously, I had a conversation today with several people from Bartow over lunch today. They have so many jobs right now, they can't find a skilled workforce to fill them. And they got more coming in. They got expansions coming in here. What's the advantage there? They have a good team, a good economic development team. Their team consists of Joint Economic Development Authority, consists of 3 appointments by the sole county commissioner. We have 5, they have 1. And then the city council, Cartersville City Council, also puts up 3. So basically a 6-member board. That board has the authority to hire an economic development director, and she has an assistant and I think also an office helper as well. Their job is to go out there and bring those industrial prospects to Bartow County, and they go out and build, development parks, whatever. You ask the Soule County Commissioner, you ask Melinda Lemon, who is the Executive Director of Economic Development, what's your leading thing, and if they're going to tell you, we're on I-75. We're 25 to 30 miles away from I-75. We can't go out. You can offer somebody same value, pricing, real estate, whatever, with access to the busiest highway in the southeast. What are you going to do? Rome or Floyd? Rome versus Bartow County. I'm going to Bartow County. Mm-hmm. It's hard to recruit against that. We have an airport where we, the voters, just approved a SPLOST-funded extension of the runway that turns out, even with the money you and I will pay, maybe on the future SPLOST year, maybe on, I can't think if it's 2013 or 2017, whatever it is, that runway, when extended, it's going to be 2,000, maybe 1,000 feet shorter than what today's corporations want. So we got kind of a handicap here, but still we have seen the Pirellis, we have seen Lowe's, we've seen a lot of smaller firms come in here. We use a Chamber of Commerce based format, where the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce and Heather Seckman and others in the Chamber, they're really the ones that go out and do the international and national calls, you know how strong our international component is in this community. Very successful. And even the kicker is the existing industries, once we get them, look how many of them have expanded over the years here. They don't need to. They can go anywhere else. There's other people knocking on their door saying, come on here, we'll do that. No, they chose to expand in Floyd County because they like what they have here. It's the question is getting those new folks in here. The theory out there is that we need a new way of recruiting, maybe the Bartow way. Now, it's not just Bartow County, it's exclusively, it's done elsewhere, where you have a development authority with the appointees from the city commission, the appointees from the county commission, get together. They are a new board, which in Floyd County would create our third economic development authority, maybe four if you want to count the economic development authority we have with a little bit of property in Gordon County. This new board will basically take over the actions. They will regulate economic development, hire a new economic development director or industrial recruiter, and abandon the chamber way of doing things. The chamber gets some of the leftovers. They can work with existing industries maybe, and they can still do the ribbon cuttings and a lot of the kumbaya stuff and all. And the chamber board, executive board, has voted unanimously in favor of the switch. Kind of bizarre. The chamber membership was not aware of that vote. The chamber board made that vote. What has happened in recent months, recent weeks, November 13th in particular, that morning, I think it was the Joint Services Committee for the city and county met and blessed this new concept where the city-county takes over. They unanimously passed it. They wrote a memo. They sent that memo to the county commission for an afternoon meeting. It was not on the county commission's meeting agenda that night, but by a 4-5 vote of the 4 of the 5 commissioners can vote to add something at the last minute. So you and I and the public had no clue that was being discussed on November 13th by the county commission. They get 2 documents, a supportive document from this committee that met that morning and a supportive document from the Chamber of Commerce that says, yeah, we have approved, we've blessed this proposal. The county commission, with no additional facts whatsoever, says, we agree, we're in, 5-0 vote. Go up another hour. The city commission met that night. They had delayed the meeting because of Veterans Day. And they're in a caucus session, and it comes up there, and 2 or 3 or 4 commissioners start going, time out. Let's see some data here. Let's see some documents. To which they get the same 2 documents the county commission had. And they're saying, no, we need more information on this before we vote in favor of this stuff. Since then, we Hometown Headlines, filed an open records request with the city and the county to see any supportive document regarding changes in economic development that have happened in the last couple of years. What we got back was the revised agenda for the county commission that added the thing to the 5-0 vote thing at the very end. The city commission does not keep any minutes of its caucus, so we have no idea what the actual conversation is there, except for a very good reporting job by Doug Walker on that. Bottom line is this thing's been kind of like done ramrod speed with no background. When you ask anybody on the committee for information, whether it be the incoming chamber chair, whether it be the county commission, whether it be the county manager, what about this, this, and this? The answer is we haven't crossed that bridge yet. When you talk about multi-million-dollar development, recruitment of new jobs to Floyd County, and no one's done their homework, that's when we got concerned. Huh. That's probably way too more than you want to know.
No. All right, so as someone who is outside the regular routine of the chamber, it seems, my first question would be, why would the county, since they passed it, be so eager to do this that they couldn't take some time with it and get some public input?
I totally agree. I have no idea why, and get that input. And usually this group operates pretty much. I mean, there were some times in the past when there was some consternation about, maybe some conversations not being transparent, whatever. In this case, I don't know. Other than this, if you go up to where the Lowe's plant is at 140 and 53, there's 110 acres there that a chamber and a development authorities all co-own that has a $300,000 payment due next year. And if you've seen the county budget report for October, financial report for October, that is something they don't want to see. So I think basically they're getting nervous about not seeing a major new player come into the market. So rather than sit there and plot the way you and I would do when we buy a house or buy a business and put together the pluses and the minuses and the profits and the losses and whatever it is to put a plan together, they ramrod this thing through trying to make an improvement with no game plan to move forward. So how, when Al Hodge leaves the chamber, it is billed as a retirement on April 19th of 2019, where are we going to be with economic development? I mean, and there are people who have been brought in who may be able to fill in that space. No one's hired officially. I mean, they can't hire a new chamber director until they know what he or she is going to be doing. They can't hire this new executive director yet for this brand new level 3, level 4 Economic Development Commission yet, because quite frankly, it's not blessed and approved yet, and no one knows how they're going to pay for it. But it's all going to be taken care of in 2019. Santa Claus is going to bring us a solution. So ho, 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 bring on Santa. And I know I'm making light, and I don't think anybody has any nefarious whatever. I'm not trying to put anybody in a bad situation here, but I mean, I'm scared as a taxpayer and as a resident that we don't have a plan, but they're operating, well, these 2 guys, these 3 guys, this city commissioner, that Chamber of Commerce board member kind of likes this plan, so we'll move forward. You bring that same plan into any bank, any credit union, any financial institution in this county as being your operating plan to get a loan, they will laugh you out the door. But this is what your elected authorities want to do now. In fact, not now. They want to do it yesterday.
We need to take a quick break here. We will have much more after this break. Don't go away.
The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We're talking with John Druckenmiller from Hometown Headlines, primarily about the big switch, the proposed change in the way we handle economic development in Floyd County and Rome.
Question. I heard you mention that Al was retiring, and I know under his leadership, the chamber has been very successful. When you look at Floyd County compared to some of the neighboring counties, let's just be honest, Chattooga County and some of these other smaller counties, I mean, Rome has really redefined itself from the old carpet mill days. So when you mentioned, I was just caught off guard when you said Al is retiring. So was he scheduled to retire? Was this something that was that they knew he was going to retire, so they said we need to make a change? I mean, do you know anything about that?
Put it like this, if anybody tells you this is predicated on Al Hodges' retirement, they're lying through their teeth. Al is 63 years old. I'm 64 years old. The man's got twice the energy I have, and I don't think Al's done by any means. But is this a time, if we're seeing the shifting sands here, where it's time to maybe make a move because you won't like what's going to be left over, then maybe it is time to retire. And by retiring it, I'm not saying Al, believe me, I'm a huge Al Hodge fan, and let me throw what's the word out there you want to use, be transparent about that. I am flabbergasted by this. It's like the old days, my dad was a big boxing fan. My dad always said to this, when you have a big boxing match, the challenger has to beat the opponent, not tie him. A tie goes to the champion. I don't see anybody in that ring with Al Hodge.
Yeah, that's why I was just caught off. I was kind of taken aback when you said he was retiring, because from my dealings with Al, he just seems to be really Mr. Rome, and not just Mr. Rome. I mean, the connections in Atlanta, the Georgia Chamber. So I was just wondering, was it just predicated on him saying, I'm just ready to retire? Because now you're really talking about a huge void that has to be filled. And with his connections and leadership, I mean, it can be done, but you're asking for a lot.
And to do that, you would need to go over to Bartow County and hire a woman named Melinda Lemon to come over here and run ours. She's about the only person I know of, and I'm not all over economic development in the state of Georgia, that has the same skills and contacts Al Hodge has. There are other people. There are other people that have joined some universities in town that have some of those skills, some of those things. You don't have his international and national contacts. The man has got Johnny Oskinson on his cell phone, okay? I mean, direct to Johnny, not through anybody else. Of course, it doesn't hurt that his daughter, Marie, is also Johnny's press secretary, or one of his press secretaries. No, that's why I'm like, you scratch my balding head, is because I don't understand, beat the champion. Bring in a plan that blows out what we're doing right now, that has all the dollars and cents lined up, and we have the people and we have the contacts. We can't afford, in the most competitive thing we have in Northwest Georgia right now, especially with I-75, especially with Bartow County, especially with Gordon County, we can't afford to start over again. And yet we're looking at a 6-month or more gap. I don't care who you put in that job, you're still looking at a 6-month warm-up period here. And that's what they want to do. They want to mess with multi-million dollars because somebody thinks they have a better idea that has not been drafted yet. That's a very serious mistake.
Well, who all, let me get this. I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you have it. Well, who all has approved this? I know you said the county approved it.
County Commission has given it a 5-0 blessing. The executive board or whatever it is, the mucky mucks of the Chamber of Commerce has blessed it, which totally blows me away because there's been no discussion I am aware of. In the membership level, I pay that $350 or whatever it is a year. I'd sure like to know that the county, this Chamber of Commerce is changing its entire dynamic from being an organization that sits at the big table, already in partnership with the city and county, already gets money from the city and county. I mean, there's no idea of starting a new partnership. It's already there. Mm-hmm. This is the county and the city saying, we're going to direct this now. We know better.
Now, did the city approve it?
City is, they did not, the caucus they had on November 13th was so divided, Jamie Doss did not forward it to the agenda for that night's meeting. They meet caucus, then meet into the normal commission meeting. They did not put it on there. The county did a couple hours earlier. On November 26th, it's another caucus, and economic development is the only listed item on there. So we'll see what comes out of that meeting. And then they may decide to vote and move it forward as well, which to me, I think this is the time the city has an opportunity to maybe lead the community and say, okay, we have some ideas here. Let's take a step back and let's draft it. If there's a better plan out there, put it forward by all means, but not with nothing to support it. It's basically the open record request I told you about. Really, it's got some there's got some meetings from the city commission since 2014 that says, maybe want to look at some other changes to economic development. And we're talking about a fat paragraph. We'll have a story in Hometown Headlines later on this week, I hope, that shows all that. I mean, I say all that. All that's like about 7 paragraphs total. And yet from that, we're basing all this change here. That's what I don't understand, and why the hurry up thing, why the vote that is, no one in the city, no one who gets a county commission agenda ahead of the meeting knew that was up for a vote that day. Why vote 4-5? Why put it on the county commission agenda? Why vote without any substantial documentation whatsoever? That's the part I don't understand.
Well, it sounds like leading up to the vote on the 13th, was it?
Yes, November 13th.
13th. There had been some discussions going back a while.
Someone had some conversations, I'm sure. That's why we did the open records request, to see, give me the minutes of those conversations. Not me, give the public. We'll put them up. I told them, if it makes us look stupid, I don't care. We'll put up any and all substantive information from these groups to let folks know how he got to this point. There is none, at least in official minutes.
But for whatever reason, it seemed essential to have it go through without any notice. From that day. It was put on the agenda that day.
I totally agree. I don't understand why. I do, because they're probably going to say Al retires on April 19th, 2019, and we need to get his replacements and all this stuff in order. I get that. Mm-hmm. But there's still plenty of time. They had 2 meetings in November. They got 2 meetings in December. There's plenty of time to let folks out and maybe get some other ideas, some other views in here as well. And they have made some trips, apparently, or did some fact checking with other groups that use this other model. We'll call it the Bartow model to be simple. That's fine and dandy, but let's see the information you came back with, and how does it apply to Rome and Floyd County? That's what they can't tell you.
Clarify something for me, John. But you say we already have 3?
We have 2.
2.
2 and maybe 2 1/4. We have a development authority with Floyd and Gordon County, I think, for a little industrial park off 53. I'm not quite sure where that one is. But we have the Development Authority of Floyd County and then the Rome-Floyd Development Authority. And one of those authorities, the Rome-Floyd one, moved last week. This is according to a story by Doug Walker in the Rome News. They kind of said, why do you want to create a third development authority? We can do this because they're already getting funds from a lot of these payment in lieu of tax incentive deals they do with new industrial development anyway. We have the funding mechanism. We have all the pieces here. Why create a third one?
Well, my question would be, and just based on our conversation, if you need to create a third one, then why you even need this one? Is this one insufficient? Is it, is it not competent enough to do it so that you need a total new one?
In one of Doug Walker's stories, and Doug's going to be flattered that I quote him so much, because he's a fine reporter, by the way. We may kind of have a little jousting every now and then. Doug's a great reporter. Doug has an answer in there from one of the, I think, city commissioners who says, well, we've had Chamber of Commerce chairman, i.e. the person who serves every year as chair and they rotate off. Pete McDonald's the current chair. Because we've had chairmen in the past who were clueless in economic development. Then change the model. I mean, don't change the process. If you got something that's not working in that model, fix that part. But because of that, they're trying to justify the creation of a city and county created, city and county controlled, 3 members each. Basically, quite frankly, I call it a power grab, because it's what it is. It's the city and the county taking direct control of economic development through their 3 appointees each.
But even if you had chairmen who were clueless, you still had Al and his team, who really is the engine behind economic development in Rome anyway, Rome and Floyd County anyway. Am I correct? I mean, maybe am I missing?
You got to answer to your chairman. Al's president, and you have a chairman on top of that, and the chairman's picked by whatever. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. If that's and then it never answers the other age-old question in Rome and Floyd County: why do we even have 2 development authorities in the first place? And if we have 2 development authorities and they're mad at the chamber for not getting as much done, so now we're going to add a 3rd development authority with all new costs and still support a chamber of commerce that's going to be basically sent to the little table on Thanksgiving Day. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. It's because somebody thinks they have a better idea, and they are able to ramrod that through the county commission, almost ramrodded that through the city commission. And finally, people kind of said, we got some questions here.
So the chamber would in fact just become, I guess, more for show, more, I guess, to celebrate
business. It's
the celebratory things, and
yeah, kind of. I mean, the chamber has a lot of things. They do a lot of recruiting. I mean, a lot of recruiting. They'll still work with existing industry to help support them, but still, it's not like the big game. I mean, you're going from red meat to going to the kale scenario here. Yeah, Chamber of Commerce openings, ribbon cuttings, annual meeting, whatever. That stuff's all fine and dandy, but why create the new thing when you got one that works? Or, like I said, come back with something even better and show us where it's better.
Well, we're coming up on another break again, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
Your life is filled with opportunities to show the world you can take charge. It's waking up each day with a mission. It's working each day toward a goal. It's choosing to rise. It's charging forward with a purpose. It's changing the course of your life and taking charge of your future. If you're ready to be a Take Charger, enroll at Georgia Highlands College today.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We've been talking with John Druckenmiller of Hometown Headlines about the big switch with the, I don't even know what to call this thing, but
economic development.
Economic development, good. And I also should say that on the very day that we're taping this show, the City Commission is taking this issue up at the caucus.
The caucus, yes.
And so we should watch for developments that have actually already happened by the time the show is aired. But you can keep up with it on Hometown Headlines.
I got to hire you guys for my marketing team.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you guys for the opportunity.
You'll have to come back soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Community Watch.